What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Bo with the Dr. Bo Knows Nothing show. Today we have Julian Garcia in Phoenix, Arizona. Super cool conversation. One of my favorite things. Well, I have two favorite things. First favorite thing, their marriage podcast, Young, Dumb, and in Love, is doing super cool stuff. And the vision for that for the next 5 years is like 100 times cooler than anything they've already done, which is cool. 100 times cooler, actually. Anyway, my other favorite thing is that he and a partner are running this marketing graphic design business where you can figure out almost like a set monthly price that fits your needs that I promise you is going to be way cheaper than any designer has ever quoted you before. And it is unlimited work. Like whatever you need, graphics, things for your car to be wrapped, or your windows, or your website, or your logo, or whatever, colors, design, whatever you need. It's really, really cool. When your business looks more attractive, more people come to it, probably going to spend more money, makes you be able to expand to more locations, more employees, makes you pay yourself more as a business owner. Sometimes that takes a while. Trust me, I know. But the reality is, it's potentially life-changing, honestly, and I think it's going to be super cool. So tune in, watch the whole thing. Got about a half hour, good, solid info for you. Excited to have you. Hope you enjoy. Well, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I know, episode 2. Besides the update that I posted, I'm happy to have you here, man. I was at work today, and it was like a kid waiting for the school to get out. I was like, "Is it 2:00 yet? Can I go home? I want to do my podcast with Julian." So this is gonna be fun.
I'm glad you knocked on our door and asked if I can come out to play. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm glad your mom let you today. / our wives.
Exactly.
So let's just start. And basically, who is Julian Garcia? Kind of, where'd you grow up? How'd you get where you're going? Give us the 30,000 foot view, and then we'll kind of narrow in on some things as we go.
Sweet. Yeah. Julian Garcia grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Graduated in '04. About 2 weeks after I graduated, went to Virginia for a little bit to help my sister and brother-in-law to help them build a youth ministry. And then went from Virginia to Puyallup and to do an internship at a church in Puyallup. Ended up staying there because met my wife. We got married. We went to Dallas, went to Bible college. We had 2 kids. We've been in ministry for 16 years. And then as of recently in 2020, we both stepped down from full-time ministry to venture off and start our own businesses. And so I started mine, she started hers, and we're, 2023 now? Oh my gosh, we're 3 years in.
Yeah, that's
almost
crazy.
3 years in.
That still hasn't sunk in yet. I wrote 2022 on letterhead like 3 times today.
It takes a while. It takes a while to get used to it, but
right.
But for us, almost 3 years in for our venture of our own businesses.
And so now, not in Puyallup anymore, different P-town, which is now Phoenix.
Yeah.
When you got there, kind of interestingly, but now are just like loving it. I feel like the only thing you wish is that you moved there sooner.
The only thing I wish. Yeah, I'm like, why did we ever move back to Puyallup? We should have just came straight to Phoenix.
Right. So, okay, you go down there and you've been in like editing and a content creator type of thing before people knew what a content creator was. Yeah. What are you doing now that's new and different? And basically, in the update I posted that I'm really excited just to share the scope of what your new business does. And especially for the value that you guys provide. So just like, give me, as you did before when I did ask you, just tell me what you guys do.
Yeah, so we actually just provide services for nonprofits, churches, and businesses all together. But we try to focus on churches and nonprofits because both of us are actually ex-pastors. That's, it's funny I say ex-pastor. Yeah. But we were both in ministry for a long time, and we still have a heart for ministry and helping the church out. And there's a lot of churches out there that don't have good resources because maybe they can't afford it or whatever the purpose might be.
Or they think they can't afford it.
Or they think they can't. Exactly. And so what we've done is we created a creative service where we can provide for them the things that they need to help them succeed in everything that they do. Just because you're a church doesn't mean you shouldn't have good marketing. I think you should have some of the best marketing. And so we
100%.
help them discover what their voice is in that world and how to create things for their church to reach more people. And so we do graphic design, we do video editing, we do web design,
Okay.
social media strategy. We really want to help them out there. But the other thing is nonprofits, we are pushing to help them get their Google ad grants because they get $10,000 for free in ads.
Whoa,
If you're a
that's crazy.
nonprofit. Yeah. And so a
Okay.
lot of churches and nonprofits have no idea that exists. So
Yeah.
that's our job. We get it done for them and then manage it all for them.
And so, okay, so 10,000. And now, based on what you've kind of talked to me about, that sounds like it's almost like every nonprofit has a budget for you already.
100%. Yeah.
Right.
So they're not spending to reach more people. So they can spend that to pay the person to make sure that it happens and they utilize everything that's available for them, for sure.
So, and I know I've asked this before, but like I'm getting better at making things. I think I've let you know, I get excited when I know what to look for right now. But so someone can just take like, here's our logo, here's photos from the week, here's some videos we took, make it look awesome, make it look cool so that we can post something and it's just given back to them.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do, like some churches, for instance, we basically just have them set up a Google Drive, and we just say, hey, just upload your photos, upload anything there. That way we have content to pull from because we're not there physically to take the pictures, right?
Sure.
But then we have a great program where they can just ask for anything. We provide unlimited graphic design for them. And so if you're going to hire a graphic designer, you're going to pay anywhere from, if you're hiring a good graphic designer, you're going to pay $150 an hour. And if you want a logo, you're going to have to pay, $5,000 to $1,000 on the low side for a logo, where if you hire us and you just get into our program, we just do it all for you at one price, And so they're getting everything they need and beyond, but and a great relationship with us where we're able to build and help them just build what they're building,
Yeah, that's super cool, man. And I don't know, I know I've never been approached by somebody with that idea where it's almost like some of the concierge medicine places that are popping up, like, hey, here's your membership. You can come see me whenever you want, right? Like,
yeah,
I think that's pretty cool too, because budgets, especially with hourly, it's so hard. Like some months you might need 30 hours and some months you might need 100, right? You never know.
exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So,
Well, like for Christmas time, we are crazy busy. I mean, we're slammed
yeah,
because everyone's doing tons of Christmas stuff, right? But then like January 1st, it was crickets. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
we get a little bit of a break because people don't
let's
have
breathe.
as much needs, and that's okay, So
That's pretty cool. So looking at what you do, that's almost all from home, I'm assuming, other than obviously sometime you spend with, you have a business partner, correct?
yep.
Right. And obviously, do you ever go meet clients if they are local? Do you go to their space?
We do. Yeah, we have a
Cool.
few local clients here that we do that for.
Right on. So 90% or more being from home,
Mm-hmm.
roughly. And then Britt works from home.
Yep.
I would say almost 90%, give or take. I don't know. I don't want to estimate. I've never been a realtor.
Yeah.
But now
unless she's showing houses, she's home.
And you guys now kind of have, I want to call it a business because I think it's impactful like one, but I don't know what you guys call it. But tell us about Young, Dumb, and in Love. And one thing I don't know if I've ever asked you, like, other than it being awesome, why did you start it? Like, what was the moment where you said, okay, that's how we know we're going to do this, and then we did it?
Yeah, I mean, Young, Dumb, and in Love. So I don't think we explained what it was at all, but it's
Nope, I didn't.
it's a pod. We have a marriage podcast where we are putting out content for people to have better marriages, and that's what we focus on. So that's what me and Brittany do together. I would say that we got a passion for that a long time ago, probably way before the idea ever came to life. And so probably like 8-10 years into our marriage, we're like, hey, we got something super special. And people noticed that, and they always talk to us about it and ask us questions. And
Yeah.
and then being pastors, we had small groups, and we're teaching marriage, marriage classes, and we're doing stuff like that. And so we just have like this passion to see people come to a place where they can have a thriving marriage with their spouse. And these days, marriage is so, it's thrown around like no big deal. Like divorce is so high, and it's just like, we don't get along, we'll just get divorced and move on. Instead,
I've even heard
finding out
people.
how to go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say somebody just yesterday told me at one point their therapist in their divorce, like pre-divorce therapy, trying to save their marriage, ended on, I think a divorce is what you should do. And now, granted, I didn't know their circumstances, but I'm like, okay, that seems
Yeah,
odd. So,
yeah.
and I think you're
And
gifted
we're
at
trying to
it too,
teach
not
you
just
how to,
passionate,
yeah.
which is super
Exactly. We're
cool.
trying to teach you how to stay strong in your marriage rather than just give up, because nobody's perfect. In me and Brittany, we see life so differently. And
Yeah.
if we were just like anyone else, it would be easy to get divorced because we see life so differently, right? But instead, we celebrate our differences. And
Mhm.
so what we're doing in our podcast is teaching people how to celebrate the differences, grow with each other, and not give up. Work on it until there's literally nothing else to work on.
Right. Yeah. And I know the two of us talked with you two when we were down there, and how we kind of came from a place of feeling like there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Um, and being, I would say, much more healthy now, coming across your podcast, it's still just as valuable. But I know that, man, that could have been one of my things, the thing you see that day that flips your day. And I think you two also being super Christ-centered people, there's a bigger energy to that. And what I mean specifically to me is, like, I'll read it on, scrolling through TikTok, and the one that I see that day is almost like exactly what I needed to
Yeah.
hear based on my day. And I think it's just powerful. It's super cool to watch it grow. What do you, 30,000 or so, maybe more TikTok
Yeah,
followers already? Like, it's
TikTok
crazy.
is, yeah, like 32,000. TikTok, it's so funny. You just need to be consistent. I keep telling
Yeah,
you, come on, man, get
I
up there.
know. I know.
You
I'm getting a
should
little
have a
better.
million followers already.
I'm working on it. I got to be like OC chiropractor, man. That guy's crushing it.
He is.
But anyway, so how do you guys, going into that, or going from that, how do you balance, like, do you have a schedule where certain days of the week are coming, and then with the kids too, driving them to schools, and different schools with different schedules, as we already mentioned earlier today? It's like, how do you guys manage all that? Because
Yeah.
my head would blow up, man.
Our heads are blowing up. That's the honest truth.
That's fair.
I wish I could say we had a schedule, because we don't. We basically say, all right, when we have the opportunity, we're gonna do what we can to utilize our time to do this, because we're passionate about it.
Right.
And so we would love for our podcast to come out every Monday. That's the goal. But sometimes our kids get sick and life
Right.
happens, and maybe, I can't tell you how many times we recorded a podcast and we were actually fighting 5 minutes before, like stuff like that.
Well, when we
But what
recorded
happens?
our podcast, remember the kids
Yeah,
got locked in the car, and I'm over there thinking
yeah.
what you guys are saying, that, dude, he's just trying to get you. You just had a great podcast. I'm like, I know.
Brittany's, be nice, Bo.
Are you mad? Yes. Just quiet.
That was good times.
It totally was. Yeah. And I think that's real
So,
life. And, it's what
yeah, I
happens.
mean, when it comes to balancing and it comes to figuring out how to keep that stuff in line, that's the heart of behind our podcast, is helping people discover how to flow in life together in such a way where you don't get so frustrated about things that don't really matter. Like, at the end of the day, if we can't record a podcast today, oh well,
Right.
that's a bummer. But at the same time, we're able to flow with each other. Like, I'm saying, hey. And we talk, and the thing is we communicate a lot. And so for us, we're like, okay, this is going on, this is going on. We talk about our week, we talk about what's going on. We're communicating constantly about our
Right.
schedule, what's going on with the kids. That way we can find that gap to be able to work on our personal stuff together, rather than just our businesses and then all the things we're doing with our kids.
Yeah. Well, I think ultimately what I read between the lines is, you try to do what you do for the podcast, but there's bigger priorities, right? And I think
For sure. Yeah.
that's
100%.
when we say, okay, what are your top 3 priorities? And now give me your top 3 habits. Do those support your priorities? And personally, I don't think all of my most common things I do always are doing that. That was
Yeah.
a very integral thing for me to hear in my life at that moment when I did, because it really does take focused, intentional work each day to like crush a day, right? Like,
So
I
true.
just
Yeah.
downloaded this to-do list app. It's called Do, and it's like
Yeah.
a
Do.
post-it on your phone, right? You can cross them off and all this stuff. I think I got more done yesterday than I've gotten done in 2 weeks. Like,
Yes.
it was incredible. And it motivates you, and you get these little surges of those good feeling hormones when you get something done. So yeah, I'd love
Yes.
to have a schedule, but I think again, it's being even like the night before, if you just think, man, what could I do tomorrow that would be really impactful for us? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. You wake up with that drive to do it, right? And that's okay
Exactly.
to do day to day sometimes. But
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of people miss it and they fall off the wagon because they don't know how to plan to not fail, right? And so even like
yeah,
with our marriage thing that's coming up, we're doing one that's going to release next Monday. That's um, why do you plan? You if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And so for you, like getting that do list, if you take
right.
that and if you can sit down for 15 minutes right before bed, or even if you're in bed, like whatever it is, find 15 minutes before you go to bed and say, okay, tomorrow, these are the things that are in priority of what I need to make sure get done. And that's what I have to do with my work, because when we have multiple clients and they're all over the place and they're all asking for different things, like
Different.
I
Yeah.
can't I can't keep my head straight, right? So I take those requests and I take things that we're doing for our clients and I put them in a task manager, and I'm able to swipe them off and do them one at a time. And because I'm a dreamer, so I'm all over the place. Like my mind is everywhere and I'm thinking about what's
So
next.
easy to start something and not
Oh,
finish it, right? To
so
just jump to the
distracted.
next. And
Yes, I'm so distracted,
we're
but
called
list
we're called oscillators, like a fan, right?
oscillators.
Like,
Yes.
oh, that's cool.
That's
Oh, but
exactly
look at
me.
this over here.
I
Yeah,
know. And so lists have been like the game changer. Like,
big
okay,
time.
I'm going to make this list. Now I'm going to cross it off and organize myself and make sure I'm doing these tasks and don't do anything else until that task is done, because the ball will get dropped if I don't?
Yep. And I think I mentioned it on the last show with Lofa, where journaling, even if it's just a quick, I felt good today because this happened. Like, it can be one sentence a day to start. It
Exactly.
doesn't just let you go back and look, but when you write it down and you read it and it's actually an expression of you, that is still speaking your feelings, right? Even though it's
So
not to a
true.
human, you're getting it out. And I think that allows you, just to be a little bit more vulnerable with yourself, which is the first step in being vulnerable with anybody else. And really, that's how we have to be to learn anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I
Yeah.
don't know about this, teach me. So that's cool, man. I think it's that little bit like Atomic Habits, 1% better every day, right? Just a
Well,
little bit more.
yeah, consistency is key with anything you do in your life, whether it's sports or writing or
Hashtag TikTok.
whatever it is, TikTok. If you are consistent and you just stay consistent, like it's going to work eventually. You're going to figure it out, but you
Yeah.
just got to stay consistent. Most people give up, after the first month. Like they'll do it for a month and they're like, I don't really see the difference. I didn't really lose that much weight.
Right.
And instead of just staying consistent and keep doing what you're doing, they give up. And
Well,
so
and
and that's
consistency could look like in a month, if you miss 5 workouts, but you made 25, like that's a
that's a
pretty
huge
consistent
win.
month, right? Like,
That's
that's
a win.
massive. So, but it's so easy to go, oh, but I failed here and I failed
Yeah.
here. But yeah, you
Yeah.
can do 20 more push-ups than a month ago. Who gives,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Go.
Yeah. We
Um,
only see the negative things. We only see the things we missed, right?
so
And
easy to do.
our minds just naturally gravitate to the negativity in our lives, and that's why it's a mindset, bro. Like if you can just wake up every day and put in your mindset, like, okay, I'm gonna kill today, and at the end of the day, check those things off and say, look how many things I accomplished today. Don't
Right.
worry about the things you didn't accomplish. They're gonna be
Yeah.
there tomorrow. Okay,
7 out of
so
10
just check
yeses
off.
is great, right? Like, let's go.
That's a win. That's a
Heck
huge
yeah.
win. Yeah.
And you know what? Some days you might get 0 and next day is probably going to be better.
You know
So
what? You
move
should
on.
get 0 on your birthday. 0 on your birthday. If
There we
that's,
go.
but put on your list though. You won't get 0. Lay on couch,
I did
cuddle
work
with
on my
cat.
birthday this year. Ah, see,
See where I went with that?
my love language here. I got a new cat sweater this year. It's a Christmas cat jumping out of the tree. And last year I got one. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh man.
It's called Cat, there it says Cat Daddy on it. It's
Oh,
I've worn it a few
gosh.
times in public. It's pretty good. Anyway,
I don't like
I'm a
cats.
dog
Okay.
person as
Anyways.
well, but I've morphed into a cat
Yeah.
lover the last few years with our new ones. Anyway, um, oh, that's awesome. Anyway,
That's
I don't even know what
awesome.
we're talking about. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So you've got you've got two. Obviously, your work, your marketing career is that it's your career. It supports your family. It's also something that I think you're extremely passionate about. And I can say from a consumer side of that, like to be able to get something that looks professional that I have no idea how to do. Like you should pick up your car from the detailer and go, I could never do this. It's worth the money,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
So with that, it's also super impactful in a different way than your marriage podcast. But where do you see, like in 5 years, how do you see yourself kind of going in that day-to-day flow? Where are each of those things? We can obviously talk about them separate, but where do you see yourself in a few years with each of those?
Yeah. When it comes to like designing and art and, photography, video, all that kind of stuff that we do, I hope in 5 years that I'm doing it for myself. I hope in 5 years that I'm literally doing it because it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm creating because I want to. That's what it was when it first started. That's how I
Mhm.
began, right? But as it's become a career, it's not about me anymore. Now to make money, I got to do it for everyone else. Every
Right.
design I do, everything that I create, is for somebody else. And
And it might
so,
not be what you exactly want because they
yeah,
didn't like
it's
what you made the first
I'll
time, right?
99% of the time I'll create stuff and then they change it completely, make it bad, but they love it. And it doesn't matter. Like at the end
Right.
of the day, it doesn't matter. Like I'm like, okay, it's your baby. I'm
Right.
just helping you make it come alive. It was much better the way I did it, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's typically the case. But I have to take my heart out of creating for people.
Hmm.
In some ways, I have my heart's in it because I want to do good for them and provide for them and do that kind of stuff. But I have to take my feelings out of it because I don't want my feelings to get hurt because they don't like my design or whatever. And so I
Which is
hope in
hard to
five
do because your
years,
feeling is what helped create it,
exactly,
right?
exactly. And so in 5 years, the goal is let this be something that I do because I want to, I love it. It's for me. It's really just for that in general, right? And then on the flip side, on the business side, I really hope that in 5 years, I'm just traveling, meeting people and getting business. And then I have a team of people who are creating and making things happen. But for me, I'm literally just making relationships and seeing what their needs are and helping them fill their needs.
Right. Like you're currently, you wouldn't take on a client that wasn't a good fit. But what it sounds like is you want somebody that's like, okay, I want to do that for you and you want me to do it the way I want to do it. I will take that on.
Exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
it's not working, but it's kind of like me. My goal is to have such a full schedule that I almost can't take new patients anymore. So
Yeah.
I have such a good little, like a group that just kind of hangs out and they come monthly or weekly or whatever it is. That's cool. How about podcast style? Have you guys talked about, I mean, obviously just I think even if it stayed the same forever and it just kept pushing out good content, it would do what it is meant to do. But have you thought about other ways to, I don't know, platforms or displays or I don't know, anything?
Yeah, no, for sure. We want to become a hub for people of faith who really want to explore a great marriage, not just
Yeah.
people of faith. I take that back. People in general.
Sure.
Now, everything we do comes from a faith background. So no matter what, if you're a believer or not, you're going to get the faith background when it comes to marriages. And
Right.
so our hope is that one day that, twice a year we do marriage retreats and people come from
Cool.
all over the country. Our hopes are that we are doing online courses and teaching people, women individually, men individually, and then marriages together.
Yeah.
We want to have online courses, and then we want to do one-on-ones. We want to offer like, hey, like we're willing to take on 10 people this year,
Hmm.
one-on-one, and we want to just completely just pour into your marriage, your relationship, and help you build something strong. And then on the flip side, we want to have a pre-married counseling type of thing
That
that
would be awesome.
type of thing. But we want
Well,
to
because I
have
don't,
pre-marriage, help people get set up for success before they even say I do.
yeah, because I don't know if I have ever heard of a couple leading pre-marriage counseling, right? It's usually a pastor or a single therapist or an
A
individual.
lot of times. Yep.
Maybe there's some kind of couple like day or something, but I
For
personally have
sure.
never had anybody tell me that, which I think is super awesome. I think of marriage work and counseling much like health in that it should be preventative versus reactive whenever possible. And so
Yep.
whenever you do, I'll even Venmo you a deposit after the show. Let me know when you do a retreat, man. We'll be there for sure. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think that is so cool because there's such an opportunity to mix in mental, spiritual, and physical health in a retreat like that,
Exactly.
which is
Okay,
ultimately what I'm
so
trying to do with people. And that's
yes.
awesome. That's super cool, man.
And you spoke directly to it, because a lot of marriage retreats, when you go to them, it's basically just a speaker, and then
Getting
they
your
talk,
table
and
and
then yeah, you get in your
yeah,
table, you discuss and leave. We're like, nah, we want to take this to a whole new level. Like I want to go
come on.
to a place where everyone has their own hotel room, obviously, but we have our own rooms, all that stuff. But we have it set up to where when when you get there, you're not just getting people speaking to you, you're getting opportunity to do things together. So we want it to be where, like, okay, today our activity, almost like camp, like summer
Yeah,
camp, right? Today our activity is everyone's getting a couples massage. All right. And then you're
there
going
you
to go
go.
then you're going to go back to your hotel room and you're going to do it. Like, this going to be so good, all right? So get
See, I
ready.
didn't even know any of this before I said I'm in. I'm definitely in now.
Yeah, and then we were thinking, okay, now today we're going to talk about body. Like, we want to have someone talk about the importance of taking care of your body, and then taking care of your mind, and taking care of your soul. Because
Right.
in all of marriage, like most marriages that struggle, it really comes down to a mental health type of thing.
Hmm.
Like, a lot of them come down to mental health, and they're not vibing together because they're both just butting heads. One's really struggling, one might be okay, they're both struggling. And so we want to help them really discover how to have a strong mental health, so that they can be strong in their mind, in their body, and their spirit, because they all go together to be able to do marriage right, right? And
Dude,
plus,
it's
we should be working hard to look sexy for our spouse, and
for
doing everything that
sure.
we can. So let's encourage that as much as possible.
Right. And I think as much as you want to be with a 10, so does he or she, right? Coming back
Oh,
at you.
sometimes there's been times I'm like, man, what's it like being with a 5? You're a 10 and you're with a 5, and she's like, shut up, I'm attracted to you, and I'm like, okay, not like
That's
I
like
am
the
with you.
worst answer ever. Like, just tell me I'm a 10, okay?
Yeah.
And I think going into the mental health that you mentioned is one thing that I want ultimately for this show to do over time is give people the realization that A, successful people come from broken places.
Yep.
B, the, you have to take care of yourself before you can give anything else, right? Like if you don't love
Yeah.
yourself, how are you going to love someone else? Like it's not coming from a
Exactly.
place of love. If you don't invest in your health, how are you going to want that for your loved ones? Because you don't even want it for you. Someone once was just recently telling me or talking to me about this thing they were reading, how like you won't be late to work because you don't want to disrespect your boss in your position, and you go to church on time for the same reasons, and these things we do that we just won't sacrifice or try not to. And then you can wake up and say, well, I was going to work out before work today, I don't want to. And you go back to sleep and you're telling yourself that you respect your boss more than you respect you and your health and the length of your life and the time with your future grandkids or whatever it looks like for you. Um,
Yep.
and it's hard to think that way all the time in the hustle and bustle of life. But one thing Jamie and I did was we reduced our adjusting hours at work because we didn't have the time to do stuff like this. Yesterday, I spent like 3 hours just working on stuff that I needed to do and wanted to do. And it was an empowering kind of feeling to A, have the time, and B, knock it out. And so I think when you
Yeah,
do focus on you, at first it feels selfish simply because it's new.
for sure.
But all of a
Yep.
sudden, that consistency a month, like you said, down the line, you start noticing that you're reacting to your kids differently. Like Those
Yeah.
moments where it should be stressful and you're like super parent and you handle it and you go in your own head, you're kind of like, wow, I didn't freak out. That was pretty good. Nice work. Like those start happening more, right?
Yeah.
Your
So
spouse
real.
is all of a sudden loving you back stronger, but it's because you are giving it out more. And the more you give, the more you can get because they got it to give back, right? And so
Yes.
that's what's cool about, I think the same thing with you guys is you're not stopping being active in these businesses. There's visions to grow. And again, the marketing thing is super awesome. And I think that's going to change many people's lives because you change their business, you make it more attractive, they make more money, they hire more people, lives can change. But this marriage thing is so cool because there's not people providing ultimately to a space to ugly cry, to
Yeah.
be,
It's
to
true.
just break it down and to be in a room with 20 other people or whatever, where nobody looks at that person weird because they're wiping their own tears or they're smiling, their joy's coming out at full expression. And I can tell you, I've been to a couple of retreats in like the chiropractic world where that's been the case. And it's just ultimately, not to be cliche, but a very safe space. And coming out of that, you do treat people differently. You see them differently because you were finally seen. And I think
Yeah.
in a way that you're not always in again the normal everyday life, and sometimes not even by your spouse, because again, routines happen and rhythms happen, and if we don't break them with something, we don't know to do anything different. And so I'm super stoked for your guys' next few years with that, because I think um, coming from where we've come from to now and where I want to go, like if someone else can do that, man, it's incredible. It's super cool. I'm proud of you.
So real. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, why don't you
Big time.
I want people to know, how can they find your marketing business? Because we talked about Young, Dumb, and in Love. It's literally that on Instagram and TikTok. Do you have a
Yep.
website for that?
We do. Yeah. Youngdumbandlove.com.
Youngdumbandinlove.com. Awesome. I highly recommend that. Whether, again, if you're not in a relationship, I still think you should go check it out because you're going to learn some stuff
For sure.
where, at least for the men, I'll speak from what I know. Single women out there as an adult are not expecting you to know some of the things that you're going to know after watching these episodes, shows, TikToks. It's like a cheat code on N64, right? ZZ Wright, big
Yeah.
head on an NFL
Let's
Blitz.
go.
But what I want to know is, how do we
Is that
find
what
you?
it is?
ZZ Wright or ZZ
Oh, dude.
C Wright. ZZ C Wright
Oh, I'm doing it. I
is
have
big
it.
head.
I'm plugging it in. I'm playing.
Yeah, dude. Um, what I want to know is, how do we find you in the marketing world so that people
Yeah.
that run a business or are an entrepreneur or something, they just need you for, even honestly, like a family that has a lot of things they want to create for like albums
Oh,
and
for
things.
sure.
Maybe they've got a ton of content and they need you for 3 or 4 months. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that's not an option. I don't want to speak too soon. But how do we find you and how do we contact you so we can change your business?
Yeah, so pretty easy. We spelled it a little bit different, but it's the word crackle, CRAKL. That's
Okay.
it. CRAKL.io. Crackle.io, CRAKL.io.
Gotcha.
So you go to that website and it basically is everything right there. So it shows you everything we offer. It shows you a lot of our past work, different websites we've built. And we talk, and we don't put prices and stuff on there for the purpose of, we want to make sure that we tailor everything directly to you. And so our base price may not be right for you, or it might.
Right.
So, but yeah, we just basically say, hey, give us a call, reach out to us. We'll get on the phone with you. We'll talk about your needs, learn about you, and then we can come up with a custom price for you. But
Awesome.
super cheap. Probably cheaper than we should be, but we want to help more people, and that's
Yeah.
the biggest goal. So our goal is to reach more, and I think making it affordable is how we do that. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where you start and you see where it goes. And obviously people are liking it because you're a lot busier than even when I was down there. You know what
oh
I mean?
yeah,
That's
oh yeah.
awesome. All
Yeah,
right,
and then
man.
Young Dumb and Love, youngdumbandinlove.com. That's all it is. And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff too as well. So same thing, Young Dumb and Love.
Awesome. Well, buddy, I think that's kind of all I had for you, honestly. I'm happy
Hey,
to hang out with you, and I love the info you gave. I think people have got a lot of cool stuff to go check out. And again, anybody who owns a business watching this, we're signing up probably right after this show. So that'll be great. But seriously, check it out, consider it. Again, questions to ask, timeline and contracts and month to month, all that stuff. Again, get to the guys about that. But I just, even halfway decent marketing in our business that I've seen in-house people do, not to say anything against it, I just mean our knowledge levels not anywhere close to you. It's made people literally come in because of Instagram. They're like, I saw this, so I had to come in. I mean,
So real.
weekly people are coming. So to have it professionally done at a small business affordable budget is helping people, and it's super cool. So I'm excited.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, brother. Well, I hope you have a
Awesome.
good day. Tell all the girls we said hi, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Can't wait to see you.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye.